YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to something different, something new ground we're treading on, moving the channel forward, taking on a bigger project. We're doing our first ever complete full album reaction on the channel. Slipknot, We Are Not Your Kind. You know, Slipknot are a band that before coming into this journey into metal, I knew a small handful of songs by them, and then we've just developed that as we've gone on, listened to more and more and more. They've been one of my favourite bands whilst we're doing this, and obviously I still have a lot of way to go, a long way to go. We Are Not Your Kind has just dropped 6th album, August 9th, 2019. We've done a couple songs. I thought when we did the last one, we did Solway, Firth, I thought that would be the last one they dropped before this came out. I did see there's been one more video in between, but I figured I'd save it. We did do Unsainted, we did do Solway, Firth, which I'll put up little info things on the screen when we get to those if you want to go and check out the full reactions. I also did All Out Life, which is not featured on the track list here, but was obviously related to it with they did the We Are Not Your Kind chant in the song. I don't really have much else to add. I should say, disclaimer going into this, aside from the fact that this is my first ever album reaction, so it might take a little bit of an adjustment to get used to this style of doing a whole project instead of just a song. So that's just to bear in mind. If it's a bit sloppy, I'm sure we'll work out the kinks when we go forward and do more full album reactions. And I have another one lined up very soon that I want to do personally, just because it's an artist I like. But I should say for anyone, because you know it's been a big discussion point recently with copyright and reaction channels and stuff, and I recently have started to pause more even on the single song reactions because I've been having more and more issues with copyright. Since this is an entire album, I can't play the whole, even with pauses, I can't play the whole album in my video. You know, it runs a line of what is fair use and what isn't at this point. So just a disclaimer, there will be obviously pauses, probably more frequently than I usually do, but I will do cuts. There's going to have to be cuts. I did my research a little bit. I watched other full album reactions. I watched, obviously, John Denton does a ton of them, Simon Miller does a ton of them, and then some other people I don't watch that I didn't really know, but it seems like everyone cuts and pauses a lot more, and I mean, it's an hour-long album as well, so, you know, I don't want the video to be absurdly long, so I just got to, for copyright purposes and fair use, and to make sure everything falls in line and we can actually get this video through and get it out there and not have it be ridiculously long. This will very much be a condensed version of the album, and I encourage you to go and check out the album in your own time if you haven't already, because this will have pauses and there will be cuts, and unfortunately that's just the nature of the way it is. But that said, we're going to listen to We Are Not Your Kind. It's just over an hour long. Let's get to it. I think hopefully the lighting's okay. It's one of those where it's so bright in my face I can barely see my screen. But if it's not, well, that's just life, I guess. We're starting off with Insert Coin, which is only 1:38, so let me get the lyrics up. Okay, I've pulled the lyrics up and there is one line. Right, Insert Coin. Let's check it out. Very different. I'm counting on the killers. Okay, interesting start. Obviously, an intro. I love shit like that. So it's different. It's interesting. Obviously, Insert Coin. The name suggests what I'm about to say. It sounds like, but it kind of reminds me of like a video game soundtrack or a movie soundtrack. And I guess Insert Coin is, aside from being like, you know, you insert your coin, you start the game. It's like the start of the album. But it does remind me that it has that sort of sound, and it's just like, if I heard that. Obviously, I'd recognise Corey's voice at the end, but maybe without that line, if I heard that and didn't know that was Slipknot, I wouldn't have guessed that was Slipknot. Because obviously, you know, it's not a song or anything like that necessarily, but it's like, it's just the intro, but it's just a completely different sound, and it's interesting that they're already, you know, it's literally just the intro, but it's already a little bit experimental. They're experimenting a little bit. It's a little bit different, but I love shit like that. I love, aside from the fact it gives me a feeling that the album's going to be quite grand and that a lot's going to be put into. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but just the way it's different and all the sound effects they use and the way that was put together just gives me a feeling that that a lot has gone into this album and it's going to be interesting. But I guess we can comment on that more as it goes on. But that line at the end, was that from? I recognise that line. Is that from Unsainted or from Solway Firth or something? I feel like I've heard that line before. I don't know, but anyway, that was really interesting. I actually really dig that. I really like that type of I don't know. I don't even know how you describe it. I just like that there was a lot going on and it was different and it was different, interesting sound effects and stuff. But okay, Unsainted's track 2. I'll probably skim through this one. If you want to see the full reaction, you can do. I'll put the thing up there so you can click on it. But we'll skim through this one because I know it, but I will listen to it. Oh, I love the drums on this one, dude. This is definitely one that's and I'll have to come back to this opinion as we progress through the album. This is going to be a nightmare taking and putting these back up again the whole time. I think John Denton just leaves this on, but yeah, this is maybe setting an expectation that we can comment on further when I've heard more of the songs that I haven't heard already. But I like the way that they've it feels like they've progressed well and naturally. Obviously, this came out in 2019. Their first album was 1999, and obviously there was demos and shit before that. So they've been around for like 20 plus years at this point, and yet it doesn't feel like they're forcing keeping going. It doesn't feel awkward. It feels like they've progressed their sound. And I know they've had similar. There's been bits where they've maybe got a little bit more poppy, or they've lightened up a bit versus their heavier days. And I know they've said with this record in particular, they wanted to try and get heavier again and call back to those heavier days a little bit. But it does feel like, from what I've heard from the couple songs before, and All Out Life included, it does feel like they've got it still has quite a modern sound while still being Slipknot. But yeah, well, like I said, we'll comment more on that as I hear more of the album. Let's get going. Okay. I dig it. Yeah, well, we said what we need to say about the song, and you can check out the full reaction. We have Birth of the Cruel next, and I know that this was the one that they released this before the album. This was like the last single, so to speak. And maybe we'll get a video for another one afterwards. But before the album came out, I saw they released a video for this one. I saw it was a vertical video, so maybe it was a promotional thing. I'm just gonna listen to it. I'm not gonna bother with the video because maybe I'll probably check out the video in my own time. But I want to keep within the experience of listening to the album, so I don't want to get too distracted with the video. But yeah, Birth of the Cruel up next. Check it out. Okay. Playing with samples a bit. I know they used to do this quite a lot back in the day. Dig it. Again, they're playing with all sorts here. You know, it's they've never been afraid to experiment a little bit and to try different things and do what they want to do. You know, I guess the song's about his Corey struggles with his mental health and stuff, and that sort of inner darkness and fighting with that. But we talk about that a little bit at the end. But I'm really interested. A lot of my focus with this album is going to be the sound for sure. You know, how they've kept their sound fresh and how they've evolved and kept it Slipknot, and like we've already said. But what are they doing to experiment? Since that first track, I think that first intro set the tone for my expectations for the album, and whether or not it set the tone for the album as a whole yet, we'll find out as we go on. But I feel like it set the tone for my expectations for the album because I've heard that and been like, oh, it's different the way they use sound effects and stuff. I'm listening for that. I'm listening for that quite closely. You know, Unsainted did some little things, and this got a little beep 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 beep, and he's doing little, you know, vocal effects and stuff. I think that's really interesting. I like the way that they're experimenting with that. And like I said at the start, they had what looks like a sample from something at the start there, which was something they did quite a lot in their earlier music. They used quite a lot of samples in their first couple of albums from various places. So I guess there's that callback to their roots as well for sure. But yeah, I like what they're doing with different sounds, and you know, they're never afraid to experiment. Like it's interesting. It's interesting. And maybe the best example that I can think of now off the top of my head is "Till We Die." Is a song that we didn't do on the channel because I knew it already. But I remember hearing that for the first time, and that's on All Hope Is Gone. I think it's a bonus track actually. But that's on All Hope Is Gone. I remember hearing that for the first time and just being like, when I was a kid, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like it was just so different, and it's got like the answer phone dial tone that they sample in it, and it kind of creates this like eerie effect, and then it's heavy and you can't hear it. But then by the end of the song, when it starts to die down a bit, you hear the tone again. And it's got this like weird vocal filter on it, and it's like it gives this really like eerie, creepy effect. But it completely builds the atmosphere of the track, and like I said, that's just a bonus track on All Hope Is Gone. But I really like that song. I've heard it a ton, and it was just so different to me when I first heard it, and it stuck with me for that reason. And I feel like they're continuing that, you know, experimental trend, so to speak. Oh, I love a good sample. I feel like I'm paying, you know, paying attention to the audio so much. I feel like it's really well produced. Like there's Slipknot, there's 9 of them. There's always so much going on. But right now they're doing this. They've got all these sound effects and the samples and stuff. There's so much going on. You know, orally, AU. I don't know. I feel the need to explain everything. There's so much going on to listen to and take in, and it all works together so well. It doesn't feel like there's too much, or I'm being, you know, the senses are being attacked or anything like that. I feel like it works. Okay, Death Because of Death. Short baby little one here. Again, interesting, different video game.
Because of death, because of you. Death because of you.
Okay, different. Apparently the female voice there was Cat Primato. Just in case anyone was wondering. I don't know how you pronounce that, I'll be honest. Right, what have we got next? What have we got next? Again, that was just like a bit of an intermission. Nero Forte. Okay, it looks like this one is the most popular page view wise, apart from the two big singles. So this could be interesting. Right, Nero Forte. Let's check it. Immediately. This one feels a little bit more standard metally, a little bit more straight, a little bit less crazy, a little bit less complicated, very percussion heavy, which is makes sense because apparently Clown was heavily involved in the writing and putting together of this song. Apparently Jim Root explained it as a potential evolution of psychosocial. Yeah, again, literally it's about I guess the mental situation going on for Corey and personifying it almost as someone or something, an entity that exists that is putting him in the state that he is mentally and is absorbing the life from him, bleeding him dry, using him up, etc. Which is of course always an interesting subject matter. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's a little bit more standard. I don't know, maybe that's not the right word, but I dig it though. It's good. It's heavy. It's hard. It's fast.
For you, did I deserve the abuse? I can't believe I let it. No
Yeah, a little bit more. Felt a little bit more. I don't know. Not. I feel like standard's such a weird last use. A little bit less crazy, experimental out there. A little bit more. Just as a metal song rocking out, but it was a banger. You know, the energy was there, the aggressiveness, and a little bit more of like that sort of mid era of Slipknot, the sort of the heavy, more standard metal that sort of got them quite big. Not to say that they didn't get big off what they started out with, but this one was a little bit more. It feels like they're mixing all of Slipknot. You know, they're doing. I've mentioned before the things that they're bringing from the past, from when they were earlier on in their careers, but they're also doing what they've picked up along the way and what they've learned along the way, and sort of making everything they've learned and everything they've picked up and everything they've developed and putting that into one big project. But yeah, Nero Forte. Okay. Alright, next up we've got track 6, Critical Darling. Sorry about this thing. It'll move eventually. It's, you know, the sun. It be like that sometimes. Critical Darling. Okay, yep, different already. Yeah, I really like the hook on this one. I've said before that I really like Corey's singing voice, and I like everything he does with his voice. The way he does different things, the way he presents different verses, the way he sometimes is borderline rapping, sometimes he is like basically just yelling, but musically. But I like the way he sings. I think he's got a very good voice, and I like when he sings. And yeah, I like the hook on this one. Big fan of the hook on this one. I love the production on this. It's so clean. The pre-chorus keeps catching me off, and I'm sure I've heard the song a few times and I know it's coming out, I'm used to it, but every time it's like dum 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 dum, and I'm headbanging, then it goes and it like changes like so suddenly, and then it changes again for the chorus. I'm sure I've heard it a few times, I'm used to it. Every time I'm like that, boom 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 boom, and then it suddenly is like different. It kind of throws me off a little bit, but that's fine. Yeah, I love the chorus. Right, let's wrap it up. Okay. Took a little bonus on there. Okay, a little bit different in the end there, a little bit different in the end there. Yeah, so far, everything they said about how it was going to be heavy again, or it was just going to be heavy straight up, it was going to be heavy. Yeah, it's been pretty heavy so far, I will say. I feel like by the end of this, I'm going to be knackered. Track 7, A Liar's Funeral. Let's keep going. Oh, I love it already. Yeah, you know I would. I love the acoustic.
Season at an end, a harvest
Oh, I
of
love it already.
illusion and regret. Yesterday was hard. Tomorrow's just a promise of the same. December and the summer kills the heart. Your hate is no surprise. I guess I have to die to play my part. You close your eyes and join the blind. Set your rest for peace of mind. Turn your back and show us the cloud. There's only one way to remember it for you. Burn, burn, burn the light. Burn, burn the light. You know just as much as I do. Do it all for what you really love. You show up and tell you better now. You show up and tell you better now. Then show it things inside your grab. Stand up straight, don't let it slap. Burn, burn, burn the light.
Right, I didn't even realise that we were that far into the song. I'm trying to think of a place to pause it, and when it's nearly done with it. I love this one, dude. This is great. We can go into it a little bit at the end, but this one, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Snuff, and we'll see how it comes back at the end, with the way it was acoustic and a little bit quieter at the start, and then it built up into this like explosion almost. Oh, that was great, dude. And these guys, they built this like proper atmosphere, this like really like eerie, intense, like uncomfy atmosphere. Oh, this is a great one. Okay, let's keep going. We'll talk about more at the end. God, that feels big, feels grand. There we go. Yeah, I love that one. I definitely have to come back to that one and unravel it a little bit, pick it apart lyrically. You know, and again, it's another one that's about mental health and Corey's situation. I already pulled up the lyrics in the next song. But yeah, at the start he's talking about like it's just that discussion. You know, it's that discussion of more and more people now in the spotlight and in the limelight that have a platform are talking about their issues with mental health, and different people experience it different ways, feel it different ways, and talk about it different ways. But I think it's great that there are all these different people talking about it in their voice, in their language, so that we can have all these different perspectives and ideas and concepts of it, just to let us better understand as a whole. But that song was great. I loved the atmosphere they made. I loved the way it progressed, and it like started out and then it came up and then it came back down again. Maybe my favorite so far. That was great. I love that one. And you maybe or maybe don't know. If you don't, maybe you're new to the channel. Snuff we did a while ago. I've already put the I think up already earlier on. But Snuff that we did a while ago was probably my favorite Slipknot song. Not just that we've done, but overall, I think Snuff is my favorite Slipknot songs, and that reminds me of that. So you can imagine why I like that one. All right. We're only halfway through already. Pick it up. Red Flag. Different already. Back to the real world, okay. So this one's a lot about that riff. They've got that riff and they're just fucking going for it. So, compared to the last one, definitely back more a return to form. With the last one, like, reached out a little bit, took us on a bit of a journey, took us a little bit away from the comfort zone. This one's bringing it back to Slipknot as fast and aggressive and energetic and loud and heavy. Dig it. That riff is crunchy, I think, is a good term to use there. Maybe it's not. That probably means something that I'm getting wrong. Anyway, let's keep going. They'll get you alive just to steal you. They'll eat you alive just to kill you. Nobody will ever have you. You used to be something special, now you're nothing, no. That. Oh, I love that drum. Drum was great. Okay, yeah, a little bit more standard, a little bit more bring us back to it after the journey. There was a little bit more, you know, classic standard Slipknot that brought us back to it, you know, the song. I mean, I guess it was like a bit of an angry letter to the snakes and the fakes, you know. They'll smother their own just to feel you. They'll get you alone just to steal you. They'll eat you alive just to kill you. You used to be something special. You're nothing new. Yeah, it's just this is angry Slipknot. This is a classic angry Slipknot in it. You don't own me. You can't hold me. This is the beginning. You are an ending. You know, it reminds me of something like Heretic Anthem. It reminds me of something like All Out Life. And you know, at the end when they're repeating, now you're nothing, now you're nothing, now you're nothing new. It's Slipknot in it. It's Slipknot. All right. So we have another intermission here. The last one of the album, it looks like. What's next? Good question. What is next, brother? Let me know. Right, what's next? Okay. Bit loungy. But creepy at the same time. It's like a xylophone or something. Why? This kind of reminds me of Floyd. I don't know why. It just... Something about it. Something about the sounds. Right. What's next? Yeah, it was just an intermission, and I think that very much that intermission is supposed to lead into the song, and I've just paused it, but I kind of have to do it for the format of the video. Yeah, I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but it weirdly reminded me of Floyd. I don't know, the tone of the guitar and like the use of instruments, like that was a xylophone or something, and just like the sound effects. I don't know, bit Floydy. Track 10, Spiders. Okay, let's let it go. Oh yeah, definitely. Dude, this is way left of field.
Well, you can go it alone or keep it in between. Everyone's a little bit a lot of the time. The spiders coming side by side, 2 by 2 and 9 by 9. Who is food and who is blown away?
Bit funky, bit funk. Love it.
Well, now is not the time. Tomorrow disagrees, but your real world isn't ready to face the face beyond the real me. Spiders coming side by side, 2 by 2 and 9 by 9. Who is food and who is blown away?
Ooh. Very different. I think this is a sort of, hey, check out, let's do something different and see where we can go with it. Check it out. You know, it's quite funky. It's got weird little sound effects. It's doing weird vocal effects. The solo there was weird. And interestingly, track 10 and the first and only solo we've had so far, right? Just a side observation there. Yeah, this is different. It's yeah, like I said, it's a bit funky. It's a bit yeah, it's something different. We'll talk about more there. It's a bit of a pleasant surprise.
Go in alone, suffer for your feelings. I'm not
That's the drum sound.
Everyone's a little bitter all of the time. Spiders coming side by side, 2 by 2 and 9 by 9. Who is food and who is blown away? Spiders coming side by side, 2 by 2
Okay, yeah, that was completely different. Completely, you know, I didn't want to say totally by surprise, but it was yeah, different from what I expected. It's different from what you expect from Slipknot maybe, and I think that's kind of the point, to be honest. Showing off what they can do, showing off their breadth of their musical capabilities, and it was a good song. Like for being something completely different, it was a good song. I enjoyed that song quite a lot. It was interesting. I got a lot of entertainment value out of it, and definitely would listen to that again. Completely different tone and sound and feel to the rest of the album. But that's fine. That's what music is, and I think they did. That was it was something completely different, but they did a good job with it, despite the fact that it was something that they don't usually do, and it just shows that. Sometimes expect the unexpected, and let them do their thing. Okay, we have Orphan next. Right, Orphan, let's go. Building in again, I love it. I feel something massive coming. Oh. There we go. Yeah, classic, dude. Classic Slipknot. The verses, the riff, the chorus. Corey he's singing a little bit, and then he's and then he's singing, and he's and then he's got the aggressive energy. Slipknot. This is Slipknot. This is Slipknot. That's what it is. There you go. Exhibit A. Definitely 100% a hook that's going to get caught in my head for days. A chorus that's going to get stuck in your head. I am not But then, similar to the theming of the album, we are not your kind, whereas I am not the same. Don't know who the Orphan is. Again, there's too many lyrics in this whole thing. I'm going to have to go through this independently. I'm getting texts from Gift Gaff. I'm in the middle of something. This is, there's no point in trying to. I'll have to go through this in my own time. Listen to this one again, but that hook is definitely going to get stuck in my head. Okay.
Everyone has something. Someone here has everything. Everyone has something. Someone here has everything. Someone here.
It's a very that line. Where is it? Everyone has something. Someone here has everything. I'm not 100% sure what it means yet. I'll figure it out in my own time. But I've just something about that line is just the most Slipknot line of all time. Apparently, it interpolates the Heretic Anthem somewhere, which I didn't immediately grasp. I'll figure out where that is afterwards. If Mad Max Fury Road had a baby with the Heretic Anthem, I mean, does it interpolate the riff? Apparently the riff, yeah, a lot of people saying the riff sounds very similar to Heretic Anthem. Maybe I just was not paying enough attention because I was just, okay, maybe I can hear it. I'll have to listen. I'll have to listen to that again. Apparently, it interpolates the Heretic Anthem riff. I'll check that out afterwards. I'm sure once I put them next to each other, I'll immediately hear it. I just maybe wasn't paying clear enough attention, but that's interesting. All right, 3 songs left. Home stretch. My Pain. Okay, back to the final stretch. Phone cleared. We're ready to go. Track 12. My Pain. Let's check it out. Got a big, grand, eerie build-up again. I love it. Shit. Wasn't at all what I expected.
Do what you want. Just remember it's for love. On your wall. Forget it's only love. I'm your chain, and I'm your lock.
This one is just so different. This is another one that's like, hey, look at what we can do. We can do so much. It's just, I'd love to not pause it, but I'm so conscious of it. But it's just like, it's so different. And that it was like build up, and then it was like a ding. I was expecting it to be the usual, like it was, but then it was like it was just something completely different. And I love this that they keep like subverting expectations. They're doing all these different things, trying things out, and it's they're crushing it every time. But this is like such as grand production. Like this could be like a something on a film soundtrack, or something for a trailer, or like the end of a film, or the end of like a dramatic episode of some TV show or something. I can just imagine this, and that's not to take away from the song itself, because to say that I can imagine it being like the soundtrack to something. I'm not saying it like that. It's just like with the nature of how it's put together and how the production that's gone into it. The production on this fucking album, I love it. It's different and it was unexpected, but I love it.
There's no escape, just as long as I say love, 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 love. I'll take this, and I'll take that. I'll take you too. You can never give too much.
This is.
She loves me, wants me to be
getting Floydy vibes again. Not with the vocals here, but some of the sound effects and the different things that's going on in my headphones. I'm getting Floydy vibes. Ooh, that one did something. I loved that. I feel like that's going to be a divisive one. I feel like based on what people expect from Slipknot and what people have heard from the rest of the album, even with something like Spiders, which was completely different, I feel like that's the sort of one where there will be people who have heard that and were like, what was that? You know, what was that about? Didn't really feel it. Weren't really that into it for what they were expecting out of the album. That sort of thing. I can see that, and I can see why people would feel that. I loved that, dude. It was different. And actually, I quickly read before listening to the song, and the whole time I've been going through this, each song has on Genius they have an information section alongside the lyrics, and there's a section where you can put what have the artists said about the song. So if they've spoke about the song in particular in an interview or something, you can put the excerpt there. And Jim Root, who's the rhythm guitarist for Slipknot, I believe, obviously did an interview with Kerrang at some point, and if I can find that online, I'll try and link it. I'll try and have a read of it and link it in the description if I can. But it might have only been in the magazine. I don't know. Because every song so far has had an excerpt from what Jim Root had to say about that song specifically. And with this one, he talked about how this was like him and Clown had been working on this since back in the All Hope Is Gone days, and it was one of those where they never quite got to the point of wanting to put it out, but they kept coming back to it and working on it. And he likened it to like a painting that an artist will be working on and keep coming back to. And then in the end, he said Corey pulled out all the stops and made it something special, and that was something special. I don't know why. The whole time I was just getting these like Floydy vibes in the way they created this atmosphere, in the way that it sounded bigger than what it probably actually was. It felt like there was this whole massive production behind them, orchestra maybe, even though most of it was like electronic, you know, some of the bass and the sound effects and stuff, but it had this Floydy vibe to me, and that is some comparison to make. That's some compliment to give, you know. But that was great, considering that was just. It was different. It was so different to Slipknot as a whole, to what we've heard on this album. But I feel like it's so much of like what they've learned over the many years of being in the game now and making music. They just put their talent into making something different, and to that piece. And that was I mean, that was incredible. And that's just talking about the music. You know, obviously I've not sat here and dissected the lyrics or anything. And fuck it, dude, I'll do that on my own time, because right now I'm just like, damn, I want to sit on that one. I want to absorb that one. I'm very excited to listen to that one again. But anyway, track 13. The last track that I haven't heard, because the final track's Solway, Firth, and obviously we reacted to that. Not Long for This World. Let me pull the lyrics up. But yeah, I honestly, I appreciate like every aspect that went into that song, and I can imagine having a piece like that, a song like that, and have it be your baby, and keep going back to it and building it up and just creating something to be proud of. That was great. I loved that one. I really loved that one. All right, Not Long for This World. I dig what they've been doing with the drums as well on this one.
Scratching, scar the same. Anger is dark, edges are soft, heart remains. I know I'm bitter, knowledge is a difficult stage. So this high,
there we go. It just feels like there's so much more to their music now. And granted, I've probably done more of the stuff in the. I've not done a ton of their recent stuff, so to speak. I don't think we've done anything from the album before this. And I've done a couple of songs from All Hope Is Gone, but like it feels so mature. It feels like there's so much more to like every song. I get the same sort of feeling as like it's not straightforward. Even the songs that I've spoken about on this album in particular, I've been like, this is a little bit more standard Slipknot, something like Red Flag, maybe something like Orphan. It still feels like it's so much mature, their sound, and this is something I'll talk about at the end when we talk about the album as a whole, but yeah, everything's, it's not just, oh, we're playing the guitars and he's yelling and oh, now there's a hook. Like, it feels like there's much more progression to the music, and this is not to take away from any of the music in the past, because like I said, I've loved everything I've done by them so far. I just mean in terms of this, you can definitely see how far they've come, and you can tell that they've been in the game for a while. Because all the it's, yeah, okay, well, I'll talk about that at the end.
Spreading within, writing a story, my soul is for sale. Trust is such an arrogant thing. So decide, tell me I'm gonna die, 'cause I'm already gone away. Decide, tell me how you know the lie. It wasn't really all to say. Not long from this world. I know the shit you eat. There's nothing mellow in the drama you live and breathe. You write your secrets to become the family. You don't get credit for your rare good behavior. Don't be a savior. The greatest conclusion that I ever had was when I woke up and said that's enough. Living never felt so bad. You don't accept it, and I don't care. Bury yourself above all your guilt. When you're ready, it'll be there. Not long from this
That was a little till we die.
I was not long for this world. 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 I was not long for this world.
It's a little bit more at the end. That section reminded me very of earlier Slipknot. The scratching, that was very early Slipknot. Okay, we come into Solway Firth, which of course we know. Yeah, so the theme, it's following the theme of the album, right? You know, his depression and his struggles with mental health, and I was not long for this world to the point where you barely want to exist, you know? And we're not going to sit here and you know, the depression conversation too much, because, you know, it's a long video and I could talk about that for a while. The subject is very close to home, but, you know, it's one of those where obviously it's been a big thing in Corey's life in particular, and I don't know about anyone or everyone else in the band who's gone through this or similar situations, but it's been a big thing in Corey's life, and as a result, a big influence on his music, and we've heard that over the years for sure, not just in this project, but it's definitely a consistent theme in this project. This is like, what, the 5th song now, when I've said that I've drawn parallels, and, you know, the struggles with mental health and stuff. But again, you know, he's talking here about his own experience, when he's talking about maybe addressing people that look down on him or don't take it seriously or don't empathize. Again, there's a lot here to unpack, but as far as, and to be fair, as well musically, I want just basically reiterate what Jim Root said in terms of the fact he said the guitar riffs behind these vocals has a vibe to it where it's very melodic and airy and open, and then it breaks down into a typical Slipknot thing. I love the way the vocals and the riff work together. I read that as I was listening, and I was like, that was literally what I was thinking. It's like super melodic, and it's like it did feel open, and those weren't the words that I would have used, but airy and open were quite good words to describe it because I don't have any particularly on my mind. But yeah, great words to describe it. The way the vocals were allowed to be what they were, and the riff and the melody and everything else, I feel complimented that perfectly. I really like that one as well. Jim said it was one of his favourites. Yeah, I really digged it, and as well, this is one that I'm excited to not just re-listen to, but to delve into the lyrics and try and pick up a little bit closer on what they were getting at there, and when I have the time to just take my time with it and that sort of thing, and have a bit of a read through. But the pre-chorus there stuck out to me the most, where he said, "The greatest conclusion that I ever had was when I woke up and said, that's enough, living never felt so bad. You don't accept it and I don't care. Bury yourself above all your guilt. When you're ready, it'll be there." So I guess it's like it's such a bad point for him, and it's so bad mentally. Living literally never felt so bad, and there are people he's saying, okay, well, you don't accept it, you don't think that it's a real thing, or you look down on me or anything like that, but I don't give a shit. There's nothing to do with you. My life isn't you. It's my shit to deal with, and I'm gonna do that accordingly. Yeah, but at the same time, it's people should not be like that. Anyway, Solway Firth, of course we have heard this, and I'll throw a thing on the screen so that you can go and watch that reaction if you want to see me, because we've listened to it, so I'll probably skim through it quickly here, but if you want to see my more in-depth analysis and take on that song, and you can do in the full reaction, you can go check that out. And of course we, did that have a video? No, that didn't have a video, did it? Well anyway, you can check it out. But yeah, we'll go through this one. We'll go through this one quickly. Oh yeah. Good closer. Hard. That's the line I was talking about at the start. I knew I'd heard it. It all comes together at the end. Full circle.
Take great care to not take care.
Of course it had a video with the boys. I completely forgot. There's the clips from the boys in it. I totally forgot the video existed. This is interesting. I know I said I was going to go through this one quickly and get through it because we've already done the reaction, but there's stuff that I'm picking up now in the context of the rest of the album and the subject matter and the songs before that I didn't necessarily get in my other one. And I think the lyrics here in particular, aside from the sound, some of the different little sounds that now make sense in the context of the rest of the album, lyric wise, the chorus I think very much is almost a continuation or a similar idea to the previous song that I've already forgotten the name of, Not Long for This World. What I was just talking about, how he has these issues and some people don't care about it, or some people look down on it, and this chorus is the same as the line that I was talking about in the previous song, where he's saying here, I don't need you to do it for me, I don't need you to understand, I don't need you to hide it from me, I just want to feel like any other man. He's saying I don't need you to understand, or I don't even need you to care, or whatever the fuck. I just personally within myself want to feel like everyone else. I want to feel normal, I just picked up on that because obviously listening at the time, I don't remember what I said at the time, but it was what it was. But now that I'm hearing that chorus, immediately when I was reading that as I was listening to it, I was like, oh shit, that's like literally what he was saying in the previous song. It's kind of similar to that. And then yeah, that line of do you want the real smile or the one I used to practice to not feel like a failure? I butchered that a little bit, but yeah, again, that's two lines, but it's such an interesting concept, and this is why I haven't gone too much into every lyric, because this video is way too long already. But because you can go into them so much, it's such an interesting concept of the one I used to practice to not feel like a failure, feeling like you have to put a mask on, or a mask of happiness, or present a persona that isn't who you are, when inside you might be struggling and having such like a dark emotional time inside your head and stuff. And inside your soul, but yet you feel like you need to present yourself in a different way. You need to put this mask on and pretend and present yourself happy, because there's this pressure to do so in society, because we've not yet reached that point where these struggles with mental health for various reasons has become normalized yet, so to speak, and we're getting there, especially with stuff like this. Is definitely helping, but I just thought that one in particular, for me personally, someone who went through something very similar for a very long time, it just hit home very much, because it is like you feel the pressure for people to not know, you worry about it affecting other people's lives, and you feel the pressure to have a mask on and hide it away and keep it in, because otherwise people are going to look down on you, and it's going to be even worse. And yeah, like I said, you're not a failure for feeling like that, but you feel like you have to practice a smile and put a fake smile on, otherwise it's going to change maybe how people feel about you and how the world perceives you. But anyway, let's get to the end of this one. And there we have it. We Are Not Your Kind, August 9th, 2019, Slipknot. There we have it. What do we think? What do you think? What do you think, guys? Honestly, it pulled me in more and more as it went on, but I very much enjoyed that, and I'm very excited to, whenever I listen to an album, I always, it takes me a few listens to fully formulate my opinion, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed every second of that. That was great. It just, that to me, as a whole, the album musically felt like, and we touched upon this earlier on, as far as Slipknot are concerned, it felt to me like an amalgamation of everything they've learned over the years in terms of musically, as musicians, their experience and stuff, and how their talent's built, but also what they've learned about themselves in terms of the music that they enjoy to create, the music that they can use their abilities to create. It felt like they took elements of everything along the way and just made that into one overall polished off, like, top of the crown sort of thing. And it felt like, I don't know if they're going to keep going after this. They're getting on a bit, and it's starting to get to, with as hard as some of it is, like, an aggressive and all that, you can't go like that forever, right? But this is the sort of thing where I feel like this is a good, solid top off to the project, to the band and stuff. And I feel like this won't be the end of them. But it just feel like everything they've done, they've built up. It felt like a really mature sound. It didn't feel like they were forcing anything, or it was awkward, or they were doing it because they had to do it, or for the sake of doing it. It felt like they were using what they've learned and using their talent to create what they wanted to create. And they had some of those elements of some of the earlier stuff, the scratching and the samples, and like the aggression and the heavy elements and stuff like Iowa. But then they had some of the more later on elements with some of the hooks and some of the progression and stuff. But it felt polished. It felt great. It felt like I said, an amalgamation of everything that they've learned over the years and developed and progressed and evolved to get the sound to where it is today. And I think it was brilliant. It had the heavy aspects, it had the emotional aspects, it had some good hooks in there. I mean, I've only got 3 minutes of space left, so I honestly, like, what else do you say? But I loved it. The production to me personally, okay, you probably have just got about 10 seconds of black screen, or maybe it's going to be black screen right now because I've just reached max recording size for a file. Yeah, the production to me was great, and maybe there's someone who is knows more about music or listens to music in a different way that they'll maybe say maybe they could objectively if they know more about different things about the production, blah blah blah. But as far as I'm concerned, for my enjoyment wise, the production was incredible for me there. Whether it was the more straightforward songs, whether it was the songs they were experimenting a little bit more with the sound effects, whether it was the songs where you had all the different elements to each individual song as it progressed along the journey. Everything was so crisp and clear and well put together. Like I said, nothing was an attack on the senses. Everything felt right. Because their last album was like 2013 or something, wasn't it? And it feels like they've been working on it for as long as they needed to work on it to get it to exactly where they wanted it to be. 2014, so it's been 5 years. But yeah, the whole album that felt great to me. I really enjoyed that, and yeah, I don't know, some highlights. Obviously, I liked the singles, but probably my favourites, Elias' Funeral was up there. I really liked Spiders, and then My Pain, Not Long for This World are both really good. Obviously, I liked Solway, Firth. Oh, that was great. I really enjoyed that. I don't know what else to really say beyond just, it's hard. Maybe if I did like a review, I'd go into more detail with everything. I could break down each of the songs. But as far as the first reaction goes, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't let down. I went into it with an open mind. Didn't know exactly what to expect. I very much enjoyed that. The production was amazing. It felt mature. It felt like an evolved Slipknot sound, but it still was Slipknot. It wasn't a different band. They didn't change it. It wasn't too weird. But when they did step out of the comfort zone a little bit, Spiders, Exhibit A, it was still had their style and flair and sound to it, and it still sounded good. I feel like it's a disappointing ending, as in terms of the video, in terms of on my part, because I feel like I don't really know. I don't really know how to end something like this. I don't know what else. I feel like I've not said enough, but I definitely have, because this is my third 35-minute video, so it means this video is definitely going to be in over an hour, even once I edit it down. But let me know what you thought of the format. Hopefully, I want to do more of these album reviews. It's just they take so much time. Like, this just took an hour and a half, which is usually as long as I have in one recording session, and I just spend it on the one video. And it's definitely, I'm not going to be able to edit all in one go tonight. It's going to take me at least 2 nights worth of editing sessions. So it's a lot of time to put into the one video, where I could have recorded like 4 other videos and can edit like 2 or 3 a night, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it just, obviously I can't do them as a regular thing. But when the time comes on, this is bad, we've done plenty of Slipknot. And they started releasing new songs, we checked them out, and then it was like, right, why not check out the album? I've done enough of them. I know I enjoy them enough that I was actually excited for the album and would have something to say about it. So we did it, and I very much enjoyed it. So I'm not. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm not just going to suddenly start doing loads of these, but I enjoyed doing this and will do more when the time is right. I want to do the new Bon Iver album, but I'll get to that when I get to that, which will probably be soon because I'm really excited and I'm not enjoying putting it off. But that said, thank you very much for spending this time with me. I don't really know what to say now. It's been too long of talking. I'm not used to it. But thank you for watching. I hope everyone did enjoy. And if you're still with me, thank you for watching all the way to this point. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments. I have less than a minute left of memory on my phone. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments, and I'll maybe talk about it a little bit more in my next Slipknot video. But that said, thank you very much for being here with me, and I will see everyone in the next video. Peace out, guys.